Alright, hey guys, my name is Dallas. Hopefully your next premier of Alberta. Now, I've got an important message for you all, specifically around how aggressive or how soft or slow Danielle Smith is taking her stance on separatism, on economics, on wages, on justice and crime, on immigration. I believe that, of course, I'm going to start with immigration now. Now, I like where Daniel Smith is going. However, it's not as quick as I'd like it to be. In terms of immigration, the gun buyback program, I believe it's called, may have some intrusion into immigration because of how many repeat offenders that are being put on the streets. Of course, illegal aliens or immigrants that don't have the documents to prove they're Canadians or prove that they can live here and work and have the privilege to do so. And really, there is a lot of gaps that I'd like to fill in more aggressively in terms of immigration. Is open our own provincial agency. Like I would like to call it the Alberta Immigration Enforcement and Policing Agency, which will tackle the how do I put it? The large amount of immigration that's coming into our province and send them back. Like if the federal government wants to get all pissy and mad and say you don't have the right, well, that sucks to be. You should have thought of that before you brought in all these people to work and take advantage of and use it to gain more power and more seats. Now, as well as the floor crossers, Matt General, Chris, and Michael Ma can all go to hell and just think, what have they done? What will they do better next time? I don't think there will be next time, because they won't be very much welcome into politics, at least not in my party, at least not in UCP, and at least not in the NDP or the Bloc Québécois. And I think that thing needs to be has to be made clear. The MOU is also a big part of it, because of our if they don't want, if the federal government don't want to agree on things that say, let's include immigration in the MOU. If they do not want to agree to taking down the immigration like it was during the 80s, during the Harper era, during the Mulroney era, and I don't know what the Mulroney era. Just give me some correction on that. At least during the Harper era, immigration has been very, very low, and well within parameters of our desired immigration and tourism levels. To not only put our economy and crime within intolerable levels to manage adequately, to put it within the required levels. And now, because I cover two things in one section, I'm going to move on to another. Over the course of how do I say it? Decades, and because Alberta has had the most conservative governments, I believe, under a new party, still conservative, don't get me wrong, still conservative, will deliver a more aggressive, a more thorough, and a more head-on approach of justice, crime, explicit material in our schools and libraries, because we don't need that there, unless it's a library that doesn't cross their paths with public schools, Catholic schools, you know what I mean, all that thing. As long as it doesn't do that, we're good. But in school libraries, in schools in general, they shouldn't have this explicit material, which I agree on Smith on that part. However, to enforce it is another idea. Now, because it's already been enforced, I would suggest for next time, if something like this would happen again, someone would reintroduce explicit material into our schools, that it would be a more aggressive approach and a more thorough approach, rather than our soft and slow approach by Daniel Smith's UCP. Now we can agree on the UCP and my party can agree on one thing: that the NDP is never to be allowed into government again, so they can shake our system into more liberal, a more inequality, a more injustice, crime rampant province, because that's what he did during the Notley era, and that's what they encouraged. And then Kenny came in, and then Smith came in, and so what, and so on. And if we keep our province conservative, if we keep it conservative to the point where that our province can be stable, then so be it, in so many forms and aspects. Now, if we were to separate, and I really hope northern BC separates as well and joins us as a province, hopefully to Alberta, so we can get naval and shipping and whatnot bases, so they can defend our waters and ship our goods to other countries, whomever they might be. And my stance on the war in Iran and Israel, the Americans, their air campaigns, I support, and for future references, I hope it doesn't, and I hope to God, not that it matters, but I hope that God doesn't offend the left and the liberals, so they could go banging on doors, telling conservatives to come to their side and expect them to bow down, which probably will never happen. And I hope the left and the liberals will not depend on on slave minds and slave alikes because of their disastrous policies and economic policies and so on. And sorry if I sound so stuffy because, well, I'm still recovering from a cold. If I sound like that, excuse me. I will be okay. I will be increasing the amount of schools that will be built around the province, increasing funding to them, as well as batting down hedges regarding the Alberta Teachers Association, because I believe they don't have the brains or the brains to put together a common sense plan or the right get along kind of posture with the government to say, okay, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to increase the amount of assistance in schools and not have so many kids crammed into one classroom, as well as having more hands-on experience classes, hands-on classes like construction and veterinary work, because I believe that's what it is. That's what we need to have happen. Regarding veterinary, I really like that idea. Now, not everybody could have an interest towards it. Hang on. Give me a second. One is interested in working with animals, like hands-on, especially if they're allergic. Now, here's how I like it. Certain schools, especially ones that are public, will of course build a barn, a big barn, housing different sorts of animals in different sections. Now, putting it this way, you have one. Of course, don't mind. Oh, where's it? Over here. Don't mind that. Because I'll get to that in a moment. Now, I have a plan to introduce farms on one section of the school, increase hands-on experience with animals. Also have how do I say it? A surgical ward there to, of course, increase hands-on experience. Those who like really all that fleshy, bloody organ disgusting stuff, which some people may like, will go, of course, and do and see the different organs and whatnot on animals while they're in surgery. And because this will have to be monitored by medical professionals in the field of animals, I think it'll be a good thing. I'll also learn about how to feed chickens and what is good for them, like scraps. Chickens love food scraps, and what benefit that provides to us humans, as well as the chicken. Also do turkeys, guinea fowls, all all those sorts of animals. And if the parents want to volunteer, then and share their experiences, then that's fine. We'll sign them up. And as far as construction, we'll have to be in a more step by step rather than detail by detail kind of way. Because of course I'm not good at construction, never have been and never will. And hopefully that changes because, well, of course time goes on. As we get older, we do that kind of move on kind of thing. I believe construction is a hands-on experience, as well as building. Well, as Temple Grandin said, building Minecraft blocks, just chopping it into different blocks, painting it, and then giving it to their kids to build all sorts of things. And I think that'll be great too. Of course, I won't be that specific in my campaign in future events. But yeah, I believe that it'll be just the right type of tool to make it happen. Right hands-on experience, as well as other classes we'll get to in the future. And Temple, Miss Grandin, if you are watching this, please give me other suggestions on whether other hands-on experiences could be implemented. Because your experience is very much appreciated as well. I've got a few questions for you, for all of you, including Grandin. Like, what in terms of psychology, what is really needed in terms of therapy? What is really needed to increase the amount of awareness? In terms of hands-on, what is needed, especially when it comes to the political field. When the NDP says, "Shame on you for yada yada yada," more assistant teachers, less people crammed into one space, and specific classrooms designated for, let's say, people with autism, Asperger's, Down syndrome, etc., and so on. Those who have mental and cognitive functions that are not working well and that already have been diagnosed, and so on. And what do we need to better understanding in terms of mental and cognitive abilities in every aspect? The other thing is, I guess we can move on to my other section, is what is my party based on? Well, it's based on the belief that conservatism is based on the belief that conservatism is the way to go. It's based on the belief that we need crime down, we need less immigration, we need more provincial control on immigration, because that's what we need. We need provincial control of immigration. That's why I proposed why I mentioned it earlier, about the agency, the organization that I think would be great on that. I believe that it should be unappealable for future references, because I know the NDP, I know the Liberals, I know other left-leaning parties would just appeal that, make make it illegal and make it unappealable according to provincial law, because we need an agency that would work independently and work for the provinces, benefits and the citizens to be safe as well. It's also believed on unity and freedom, hence United Freedom in the party name. Because we need unity more than ever. And freedom, we need freedom. The free right to choose where we place our kids in school. The free right, well, especially in terms of our CFS department, because I believe that CFS is not aware of the fact that homeschooling is the best in terms of getting our kids that, well, may not need intervention from public and whatnot and Catholic schools, but would work best in terms of homeschooling. And CFS needs to be aware of that. And I also believe that freedom should be used as free expression to express their right, to encourage other people, not force, but encourage other people to choose whether they should express their opinion in political matters, in referendums, in town halls, and whether we should do this, whether we should increase funding, whether we should decrease or keep it as it is. Hence why we have town halls, why we have meetings with people in certain areas. Like, I'm going to ask you this, people. What do we need most in our country? What do we need more? More aggressive stance? Why which the A.U.F.P is willing to provide, or a more softer, more slow, like a river, which the UCP is taking as a stance, and I believe that's what the UCP is doing, and that's just my opinion. But correct me if wrong. I'll take your corrections and say, okay, show me the proof, show me where it is, so I can see, and then appreciate the feedback that you get, and host a town hall there. A joint town hall between UCP and A.U.F.P. voters. Just have this calm debate with the premier. Just with the people on the town hall. The other thing is, hopefully you guys will, and I pray to God that hopefully you guys would ease on the amount of shootings that are around people, and encourage the model that Daniel Smith had, is if you want to come into people's home, go rampant, threaten the lives of the people and the occupants of that home, then if you're scared of getting shot, well then don't enter that home and do said rampant and scaring the people of that home. It's that simple. And I think that's what we need, is to have the right to defend our home, to whether decide on shooting or stabbing or whatnot, to defend our home only on defensive measures. You're going to just say, okay, I'm going to kill you, and just go ahead with it and say, you're dead, blah, 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 blah. That's not okay. But only on defensive measures should we defend our home, should we kill people if it deems necessary. Otherwise, see you guys later.